And we're back, FaceTime Fighters with myself, Aaron the Marksman Morgan. Today, obviously, I know you very well, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself to the people that don't know you, your name, your fighter status, and where you're from.
My name is Rakeem Noble. I'm a former fighter, now a personal trainer. My record was 12 wins, 2 losses as a professional, with about 40 amateur fights, and I'm from London.
Yeah, you're very, very well known on the scene in London, the professional boxing scene, the amateur boxing scene as well. I've been at countless of your fights in the amateurs, always entertaining, always fun to watch. So I'm glad to have you on today. We're going to start today, Rakeem. We'll start with a bit of a deeper question. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned through your boxing career?
Biggest lesson. Believe in yourself, believe in your ability, believe in yourself, believe in your ability. It sounds so cliche, but it really is a case of knowing how good you are, understanding how good you are, and doing what you can to be as good as you are. Like, yeah, it will take countless hours of training, it will take countless hours of effort and sacrifice and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But from all of that stuff, that's stuff that really does make you better. And just believing in that and continuously following it up, yeah, that all
yeah,
does lead to somewhere. Because a lot of fighters, I'm sure you've seen, they jump in the gym and they want to be the top guy in the gym, but it doesn't come to them and they're quite disheartened and they end up leaving.
yeah,
But it really
definitely.
is just the long game. It really is just the longer you stick. Like, we went pro around the same time. If we look now, there's fighters out there who are still going now. Who at that point
Yeah,
we didn't think they'll still be there, but they've
yeah,
lasted and
yeah.
they just kept pursuing and pursuing.
Yeah, man, 100%, 100%, and that's definitely one of them things where that's one thing that boxing is good for. That it trickles over into other avenues of your life, and it just
Mm,
lets you know that sometimes you got to play the long game. Like me personally, I will attempt anything. I've done jujitsu, I've done this, I've done judo. I don't care because I know that eventually, as long as I stick to it and I carry on turning up, eventually I'll get. I'm not going to say I'll get good, but I'll get somewhat competent and decent at it
mm.
as long as I stick with it for long enough. So like, I fully agree with what you're saying. Um, Rakeem, cool. Give me one fighter that you would fight for free, no money, just for pride. It could be a historical fighter that you'd love to share the ring with. It could be someone that you was on a collision course with in your pro career, but you didn't actually manage to fight. It could be someone that you just straight up don't like, and you would love to get in the ring and throw a few shots at him. Give me one.
Of course, when we was fighting back in our day, like with some old men, when we was fighting, boxing was serious. You fought people in your division, you fought people in your ranking. In this day and age, they got a whole influencer scene, and I'll
Yeah,
happily fight an influencer style boxing for free,
yeah.
just for the exposure, just for the melee of what it's gonna come with it, just for all of that, and just because we ultimately know that it's gonna be an easy fight.
Is
So
there any
anyone,
influencers? Any influencers in mind that you'd get in the ring with?
I take a good old fight with KSI. I know he's got a few pounds on me, he's got a few weight classes on me, but I'll happily take that fight for free. I got nothing against the guy. I think he's done actually a brilliant thing. He's masterminded a way to make boxing very profitable to people that jump on the internet all day. But that kind of exposure, that kind of drama that comes with it, oh, I would love that. I would absolutely
Yeah.
love that. Because
Hey,
these
listen,
guys can proper sell fights.
I'd pay to watch that. I would definitely pay to watch that. But Rakeem, man, what about we'll take it a little bit deeper again. What about give me a moment that nearly made you walk away from the sport? Or in the end, what did make you walk away from the sport?
Um, it was one moment, if well, they actually interlink. One of the moments that made me wanted to walk away from the sport was all this ticket selling business. Now, I actually saw a post you done a couple of days ago about
Yeah,
ticket selling in boxing, and if you're not with Warren or Matchroom and you're going to be selling tickets, that was really it. Every fight you're having, let's say your debut, of course, in your debut, you boom, you sell
yeah.
the whole
Debut
hundred,
tickets are flying. Yeah, tickets are flying.
it flies. But then after that, now it's not just a novelty, now it's an every couple of months thing. The pace of it slows down. You're not selling that many. Some fights, you literally walk away. I remember one fight, I think it was like on the day of the fight, I sold 3 extra tickets, and that was my profit margin. So what, £35 each? That's
Yeah.
£105 profit that I was making from that camp. But in that camp, you're spending
Well,
what, 2 months training
yeah,
every day, gymming, traveling to the gym, expenses, food, training equipment, bits and pieces here and there, going around the place. And
yeah.
it's like you finish it, you got the W, yeah, that's good, but you're walking away with maybe £100, and it's like,
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, what
It's
what is this? And what she made me stop in the end is just the momentum just died out. Of course, I had the fight on Sky Sports, came up short. I had a fight about 3 months after in York Hall, back to selling tickets, back to the grind, and it
yeah.
was just yeah, the ability's still there. It was good to get that fight done. Good to
But
know I've got the
you're
rust off and I
thinking,
can still do it.
yeah, you're
But
thinking, do
profit
I
wise,
really want to do this again? Do I really want to start ticket selling and building back up again? Have I got the energy for it? I
yeah, because
get
when
it.
you obviously when you start from the small hall, you've not got the big backing, so you get
Yeah,
that payday for the TV fight, which is great. But then it's like, okay, now you got to start all the way from the beginning again. It's still a whole,
yeah,
but thousands of more tickets to get back to that sport. And eventually, I just couldn't keep up with that side of it. The training side, the being an athlete side, I loved it, but the business, political side, selling tickets and all this kind of melee, that cut me a lot more shorter, lot more
yeah.
shorter.
It's a hard way to make a living. Like I always say to when I speak to a lot of young fighters now, I say if you're if you're going into professional boxing just to make money, then don't even think about it. You know,
Be a journeyman.
unless you want to go on the road and be a journeyman,
Yep. Be a
don't even
journeyman.
think about it because
That's
there's way easier ways to make money than professional boxing. It's a hard graft, and it's not even just about the actual fighting itself. You know, the tickets and everything that goes along with it. It's a hard way to make money.
listen. Selling
Um,
tickets was harder than training. Selling tickets was. I was sparring with Chris Congo, Isaac Dogbo, all of those guys at Miguel's
good
boxing
good
gym.
fighters. Yeah,
I was sparring with them, and it was easier sparring them than it was selling tickets. Selling tickets was the hard part. I sparred them every Wednesday, Monday, and Friday morning. That
yeah,
was easy. It was the
yeah.
ticket selling which got to me in the end, and
I,
which
I
yeah,
remember I remember from my own personal experience when I'd be at work and I'd get the call from my wife and she'd be like, the tickets have arrived. And then that knot in my stomach, knowing that that envelope of tickets had just arrived at my house and I have to jump on the broadcast. Hey guys, tickets are
yeah,
here. Let me know. And then, someone says they want 10 and then you're chasing them up 5 weeks later and it's, oh, sorry, mate. Something's come up now. I'm going to the football. I can't come. It's
there we
hard,
go.
man. It's hard. Right, Rakeem, have you ever taken a fight that you weren't ready for? If so, then why? And what happened in the fight?
No, I never took a fight that I was never ready for. Some people will say that the Tommy Cole fight that was on short notice. I will never stick with that and call that a short notice fight. Because when I got that fight, when I got noticed about that fight at 3 weeks, I had just come back from a training camp in Thailand. So I'm not gonna
Okay.
sit here and BS myself and make excuses. Oh, I wasn't ready. It was a short notice. I literally was fresh off the plane when my manager called me to say we've got a fight in 3 weeks in Sky Sports. I was as ready as I was gonna be. All I needed
Yep.
was a little bit of sparring when I got back. So
Yep.
professionally wise, no. Amateur wise, there were probably fights that I took last minute as an amateur, but
Yep.
that's what you do as an amateur. You take the fights
Yeah.
last minute. You take
Yep.
the hard apprentice route. I remember one fight in particular. It was a Fitzroy Lodge show in Lambeth. Um, on the Thursday evening, my coach called me to say, "Oh, Rakeem, we've got a fight for you tomorrow at a dinner show in London. Do you want to do it?" I was on my couch watching TV or something. I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
Yeah.
Went to the show the next day. Less than 24 hours notice. Won the fight.
Yeah.
Like won the fight.
Amateurs are crazy. Yeah.
Hmm.
Rakeem, what's the biggest lie that fighters tell during fight week?
Biggest
You know, we
lie.
hear, we hear all the I've had the best camp of my life. My weight's perfect. I've never trained better. I'm in the best shape ever. What's the biggest lie that fighters tell on fight week?
Yeah, I think that's got to be one of them. What you just mentioned there is the best. That's one of the biggest cliches you hear in boxing.
Yeah.
It's the best camp of my life. Then they lose the fight or they don't perform, and then oh, I wasn't sleeping enough. I had a newborn to deal with. There was
Yeah.
issues
Yeah.
in the camp. The coach wasn't going great. My diet wasn't great. I was struggling making weight. Um, oh, you hear absolutely all of them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
For
think of
for
another. Well,
for me personally, it was always the weight. It was always Aaron, how's your weight? It'd be, yep, my weight's perfect, and or yeah, I'm sparring so well. I've had 7 shades beat out of me the day before, and I was like, yep, I'm sparring so well. I'm going home, and I'm just in bits, man. But these are the things that you have to do. It's not only the lies are not there just to protect the fighter's ego. I don't feel. I think they're more there. Well, for me, they were more there to protect the ticket selling. I had to
yep,
be out
yep.
there saying, yeah, things are going better than ever. Things are going better than ever. Just so that people wanted to sort of jump on the train, man. And
I think as well another camp lies the sparring stories. Oh, I'm not going to mention names. I don't need to get political, but there was fighters who I was maybe at one point linked with who I was saying, oh, in the gym they're a beast. They're beating up world champions in sparring. They're having guys simultaneously lined up to get knocked back down. They're doing
yeah,
3 guys to 1 with him. Hearing all these kinds of stories, and then when they get in the ring, it's like they've got no knockouts or no knockdowns, and it's like, oh, but I thought this guy was absolutely tremendous. I thought this guy
yeah,
was better than everybody else, but
you're
he's got
yeah,
less knockouts than me.
you're
Like,
thinking, is this the same? Is this the same person?
in the
Yeah, I know
gym,
them
they're a
ones,
whole
man.
great fighter, but inside the ring, it's like, oh, they're just a normal fighter.
Rakeem, you're a very experienced fighter. You've been in there with some very good boys, amateur and pro, and in the gym. What's the hardest you've ever been hit? Amateur, pro, sparring, the hardest time ever. You don't have to name drop the person if you don't want to name drop who it was, but is there a standout moment that you remember?
There what okay, so one of my pro fights, one of my early pro fights, a fighter hit me in the air. He hit me clean in the air, and it perforated my eardrum.
Oh yeah,
And
I've had that.
it wasn't that the punch was massively hard or shattering. It's just it hits you in the air, and all of the air goes out of the air, and you can feel the air going in and out of the air,
Yeah.
and that kind of throws off your equilibrium a bit. It kind of weirds you out a bit. I've had that before. I wanted to win the fight, but it's just you got to keep it together. And you always remember that punch because it's like it throws you off for the rest
Yeah,
of the fight. And I remember for the next 2 weeks, I could feel the air coming in and out of the air.
yeah.
One time in the sparring, I think it was in my amateur days, I was sparring with a cruiserweight guy, and he hit me with a body shot, and I'll admit I went down. I took in sparring, I had to take the knee. I had to take the knee, and I never went to the hospital. I never got it checked. But looking it back at it now, it may potentially have been a broken rib, maybe
100%.
because
Yeah,
it was hurting for like a good week at least. Every time I touched it or moved it, it would hurt. Didn't go to hospital because I thought it was nothing serious. It healed over eventually, but I always remember that shot. Air went through my lungs, quinced right up. I couldn't throw anything back. Had to. Obviously, we're all proud. We're all proud. No one wants to take the knee, but I was
yeah, of
like,
course.
yeah, I'm going down from this one. This was in my amateur days. You're
Yeah,
quite a lot bigger than me. That's my excuse. But yeah, I
yeah,
think
man.
those 2 punches.
Um, what's what's one corner instruction that you'll never ever forget? It could be good, it could be bad, but that one moment in the corner you'll never ever forget it, amateur or pro.
Oh, what advice? What advice? What advice? What advice? I remember one. I remember in one of my pro fights. I think it was yeah one of my pro fights. Yeah, one of my pro fights. I expected it to be a lot more. I expected the fight to be a lot more balanced. I didn't think it was going to be as comfortable as it was. And
Yeah,
I remember saying that to my coach. My coach just said, "Just keep hitting him. Just do it again. Just do it again." Like that was really bad to give me at the point in time. It was like, I was like, Coach, I thought this was going to be a lot more. I thought it was going to be put me under a lot more pressure. I didn't think I'd be handling it as well. Just like keep on hitting him, just keep doing the same thing. Like sometimes, sometimes in corners, the coach will overcomplicate things, like
yeah,
hit him with a jab and
100%.
pivot, carry him into the middle of the ring, put him on the rope. He was like, nah, just keep doing what you're doing. That's literally the best advice you could probably ask for.
Yeah, that's it,
Don't
man. That's
complicate it. Just stick to what you're doing because it's
100%.
working. And it's the money. It's the money in the bank right now.
In terms of coaching, piggybacking on that point, what do you feel separates a good coach from a bad coach?
So now that's a really interesting question because now that I've gotten into being a trainer myself, working as a personal trainer, helping with some boxing coaching as well, I can definitely see what the beneficial edges are. What makes a good coach? What's helpful is a coach that can simplify things, taking a random person and simplifying the instruction so they can carry it out. I've coached a few fighters through some white collar fights, and I just think the simpler the instruction, no
Yeah,
matter whether they're a world champion or they're doing it for the first time, the more
yeah,
simpler the instruction is that you could translate over to them, the better, the better it is. When you're inside, you've been there. You've had. I saw you in the
yeah,
amateurs, saw you in the pros.
yeah,
You've had over probably 50 fights each on both sides, the simplest advice will get you through a fight. Whether it's just
100%.
sticking to the jab, sticking
Yep.
to a 1-2, just working to the body, tying him up a bit more,
Yep.
stepping on the left. Just little simple bits of advice will go the furthest way. It's nothing. It's not intricate. It's nothing complex. It's just understanding the situation, seeing after the first round. Okay, you need to keep a bit more distance. Okay,
Yep.
you need to reduce the distance, get up close to them. Okay, their hands are up more, work to the body. Their hands are low, go to the right side. Like
Yeah.
the more simple, the most effective, the better. I would say.
100%. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Now that you started coaching, so you're probably in contact with a lot more fighters now. But also thinking back to your own career and your, your stable mates and your contemporaries around the time. What do you think is one mistake that fighters make outside of the ring?
Having trained a few people now and seeing how people live, what mistake people do make, and this isn't just for athletes, this is for everyone. This is for non-athletes, everyday people, keep fitters, whatnot. And I always tell it to my clients, you come to the gym, let's say an hour or 2 hours a day.
Yep.
So an hour, 2 hours a day. So for the rest of the 22, 23 hours of the day, you're outside the gym, you're not training hard. That's the time that counts just as much as what you're doing inside the gym.
Yep.
Because there's no point coming to the gym, hitting every PB, hitting every target, smashing it in sparring, doing all that you need to do, having that protein shake just before you leave the gym. Ain't no point doing that if you ain't gonna go home and they're gonna all have a takeaway. You're then gonna have alcohol. You then do you know what's funny in this day and age? It wasn't here when we was at the gym, but vapes.
Yep.
Why do I see people in the gym with vapes? Why do I
Yeah.
see people putting the vape in their pocket when they come in the gym, when they leave the gym? Like, what is that about?
Mm.
Like, you can't be committed in the gym for that 1 hour a day and then leave the gym and you're up till like 3 in the morning and you're up at 8 and then you're going party, you're drinking, you're having all kind of craziness. That doesn't work. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna train, if you're gonna do this, it has to be thoroughly. Like,
Yeah. You
people might
gotta
come
be
to
all
me
in.
all in. People might come to me for a 5 week training plan or a 10 week training plan, and I'm like, yo, I can help you for that hour a week that we're training together, but for the rest of the time, you're gonna need to have some accountability. You're gonna need to do some things properly. And the same
Mm.
for boxers. How many
Yeah.
boxers? I had box fighters who will be in the gym doing amazing, but then on fight night, they don't come together. And you find
Mm.
out there was like girls' house for the best part of the week throughout camp. They was eating
Yeah.
out. They weren't taking the diet seriously. And when fight night came, it just couldn't come together. So yeah, there's two sides to a coin: the in gym side, the out the gym side.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like that answer. Right, Raheem. Raheem, we're gonna wrap it up. We'll ask you the final question. Bit of a deeper one. Would you want your children to box? If so, then why? If not, then why not?
Um, it's not. I do have a child. I do have a son. And I've taken to my boxing gym quite a few times to do little fun training sessions. But I'm for Project Mbappe. I'm from Project Yamal. We play football. We play football in this household. That's what we're pushing. I wouldn't push boxing on my kids. No, I wouldn't
Yeah.
push it on it. From all that I've gone through, from what I know of boxing, from how the structure of it works, from how you got to do a hell of a lot to even get paid, I wouldn't push boxing on any of my kids or anyone that I know. I'd say do it for fun, but I wouldn't push it on. Um, there's other sports out there that are a lot more lucrative, that money comes a lot more sooner, that you can actually get paid at a lower level to compete and to enjoy it than
Yeah.
boxing. Like, I ain't got to explain to you. You know what you got to do to make a penny in boxing. You know what you
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
do
I know the
to
game.
be
Yeah.
profit in boxing.
Yeah.
Like, how many amateur fights, how many pro fights, how many training camps. Like,
Yeah.
boxing's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's shaped me. It's shaped you to be the person that you are.
Yeah.
But it's an experience that if you don't have anyone looking over your shoulder, or if you don't have someone within the field making it easy for you, then it's not really up real.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it. I
Yeah.
had my good memories. I had my good memories there. But if you're
Yeah.
young and you want to pick a sport, listen, there's football out there, there's cricket, there's rugby, there's golf, there's even tennis, athletics. Athletics is a brilliant one. Go to those. I want to push my kids into boxing. We can do it for fun, but unless you were serious and you show me you want to be serious about it, I'm not gonna
No,
drag you through it.
I respect that. I respect that. Listen, my bro, it's been great having you on. I think you've given me some really insightful answers. some great content. Really appreciate you coming on. Enjoyed having you, and definitely stay in touch, bro.
Oh man, thank you very much.